Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. This is for February 21st. Okay, so I'm going to do a channeling on this reading. A few things I want to just, you know, pop in and see how they're doing. Before we start, please take a moment if you are so inspired and send some loving energy and powerful white light energy to Jimmy Carter and family. He is preparing for his transition. He has been a huge force in Georgia, and he has been a huge force for um, the Habitat for Humanity, particularly in Georgia. And so, this is a man who has clearly lived his long life well and productively. And so just take a moment and just send him some love. Okay, so um, Biden was in Ukraine and he had a visit with Zelensky and he offered another, I think it was $500 million in support. So let's take a look, shall we, at Biden and how he's doing. His popularity rating continues to be low. I don't think we need to concern ourselves that, but let's just ask Spirit. So, Spirit, if you could please give me any insight, guidance, understanding on how Joe Biden is doing, President of the United States. What does his path forward look like? So he is going to continue to get stronger and stronger and more of a force to be reckoned with. Um, for people who weren't perhaps paying attention at the State of the Union, that was just a nibble of what happens when you get a really, really smart and seasoned politician kind of facing off with some of these people who um, have stars in their eyes and are sort of power hungry, seeking attention, doing whatever it is they're doing. They are no match. And this man is going to continue to sort of, loop circles around them. And he is going to continue to grow, stronger and stronger. Over the next couple of, I want to say, sort of from the beginning of March forward, you're going to see a real shift in energy, just like globally. But for Biden, it feels as if there is almost a feeling of like coming into his own. Um, and the humanitarian components of his personality are going to become more, I want to say, pronounced, perhaps on display, in terms of setting a standard or setting an example. And so that's really good news because he has so much that he has done and so much that he has still to accomplish, and yet it does not seem to be gaining traction. But we don't need to be concerned about that because it will. And, this is the thing. It sort of feels like almost strategically, you don't want to peak too early. And, there was a lot of chit chat about, thank you, there's a lot of chit chat about sort of the whole, the abortion thing. And, did the Democrats peak too early with that? Well, they didn't because that was, the result of the midterm election. You could see that they didn't peak too early, but there is an awareness that you want to sort of steps. They're showing me steps leading up to the election. So I think that he is going to be okay health wise. Is he all right? Health wise, he is doing well. He is strong. There isn't any significant health concerns. He has a great deal of vitality. Um, it seems that he is energized and inspired um, by in it, the words that I'm getting is the games they play. And so it feels like the sillier the Republicans become, the more he seems to find some power and energy about that. He often just shakes his head. He just can't believe, um, what has become of the Republican Party. Okay. How's Ukraine doing, please? Yeah. I have long said that it's somewhere right around the 1 year mark, which is like literally in a couple of days, um, that there's going to be some shifts and changes. That it's not going the war's not going to end on that day and just be done. But it feels like there's going to be a real sort of power shift. And, more and more, I think the wannabe czar of Russia. Um, really realizes that he is in a no-win situation, and frankly he does not have like a clear path to extricate himself. Okay. At this point nobody is offering him off ramps, so we shall see how that continues to unfold. But again, as I have checked in with Putin before, it feels very much like his life force, his energy force, is diminishing. And whether that's just because he's becoming crushed by all of the defeats, or whether that is because his own stamina and health and strength are diminishing, I guess we shall find out. But he's not in amazing shape. Apparently, when he was asked about the Biden trip to Ukraine, and all he had to say was, "Well, it's just a photo op." Um, and there's something sort of telling about that kind of pathetic answer, right? There's no fire there. There's no passion there. Just, well, it's a photo op, whatever. Okay. Um, Late last week, Carey Lake once again got knocked back in court. And her the election was stolen from me case was basically thrown out of court. Now she's insisting she's taking this all the way to the Arizona Supreme Court. The question's going to be, thank you, if her lawyers are going to stand by her, because those lawyers of hers are getting into trouble. Apparently, there is talk of, referrals to the bar, disciplinary actions, that kind of thing, for literally filing these crazy and frivolous lawsuits. They make a lot of claims, but they have absolutely not one iota of proof. And so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I can see sort of an exodus around her. It looks as if there's going to be people just walking away from her already and saying, listen, you know, you lost. This is the problem. Carey Lake, in many, many ways, has a same sort of or a similar kind of energy to Donald Trump. And the energy is about, I must remain relevant. I must remain people's focus. I must get my name in the media. Um, and so when you have people like that, as we have discovered with, who, they will do and say pretty much whatever it takes to um, make that happen, right? They literally will do the most outrageous things and say the most outrageous things, because that's how they're going to continue to um, convince themselves that they're relevant when in fact they're not. Speaking of relevant and not relevant, So, as near as I can figure, some of the latest polls are showing DeSantis running about 10 points or so behind Trump. I think Trump's sitting at like a 43%. DeSantis is sitting at a 33% or thereabouts. I guess this is pertaining to the next Republican um, nominee. Okay, like so. First of all, let's just take a moment. Um, thank you, Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is a joke. Apparently, she is sort of drawing fire from both sides of the aisle. Even the Republicans think she's a little ridiculous. So I don't see that actually going anywhere. I mean, I see her kind of really plugging away and plugging away, but I'm not seeing her pick up and gain a lot of momentum. Apparently, she's like at 3%. Okay, so she's a very, very steep climb. Hell, she has a very steep climb just to catch up to DeSantis, for God's sakes. Um, so I don't see that whole deal going the distance. Um, but she's not going to be quiet for a while, right? She's going to still have a lot of chattering and nattering to say. And the problem with with Nikki Haley is she literally speaks opposites almost within the same sentence. Um, and so she's not credible. She's just not credible. And I don't know about the rest of the women out there in female land, but I personally, just as a Canadian watching this from the outside, really took exception to the whole I won't be bullied, and you better watch out for my high heels. Really? Like, really, that's the best you can do? You can't say you better watch out for my savvy, my intellect, my know how, my skill? No, no, pair of pumps apparently is going to be her magic tool. Okay. Um, let's take a quick pop in to see how Jack Smith is doing. He is, they're showing me him tightening bolts. Okay. So he is ramping up the pressure. He is, um, he's incredibly systematic. Oh my goodness. That energy around him is literally one step and then the next step and then the next step. But they're not showing me, they're showing it sort of to me like a filing cabinet, almost as if he pulls out a file and he goes, this is what we're going to do here, tick, 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 get it done. Pulls out the next file and says, okay, in this situation, this is what we're doing, this is our focus next. It's like that. Um, and he has a huge staff and he is applying pressure where pressure needs to be applied. Is Pence going to end up testifying? Is Pence going to end up having to sit down for a deposition with um, the Department of Justice with with Jack Smith that investigation? I'm getting a very strong yes. So I guess there's that. Pence. I mean, Pence is another one, right? What is he doing? He was a weak vice president with no spine. And I can't quite imagine him being this, like, really rock and roll, strong and focused president. Um, if if he is foolish enough to run, and Trump is going to be part of that running, I think. If so, Trump is going to grind him up like hamburger meat. I don't know yet. I'm not getting real clarity because it seems as if Trump has, it's like he's coming to a place where there's multiple forks in the road, but none of them are the right choice. One choice really isn't much better than the other. I mean, normally when you come to a fork in a road, it's, pick the best of both of these two options, or, this one clearly is the way to go. This one you should set aside. In this case, I'm looking at it, and honestly, both options are dark and gloomy. And so he's going to be coming up with a lot of that. Listen, right now, all Trump cares about is delaying, pushing stuff away, pushing stuff back. Um, But I don't think that's going to play well, frankly. I think that ultimately, the courts are getting really, really fed up with him. And they are, basically doing the listen up, stop. No one wants to hear it. The lawsuits are frivolous. Stop delaying. Enough is enough. Um, and that feels like sort of the energy or the momentum that he is going to be dealing with in the next um, I don't know, 12, 18, 24 months. It just feels like that road goes on forever and ever in front of him, where no choice is a great choice. Um, what's going on with Jared Kushner? They're wanting to start investigations into him and um, Saudi Arabia and the $2 billion. Is that going to go anywhere? Okay, whoa. They're saying no, not yet. Um, because he's going to be protected by the Republicans. But the page is going to turn, and that is where he's going to start um, having some explaining to do. And frankly, he doesn't have any good answers. So there's a lot of talk about it right now, but they're saying not yet. He's still being protected under the umbrella of the Republican Party. What's going on with the Supreme Court? God bless Sheldon Whitehouse. He is, working so diligently to try to shed some light on the goings on in the Supreme Court and how it's so not balanced, etc. It would be really nice if he actually got some more media attention about that because it seems to be sliding under the radar. And I think that a lot of what he has to say is really, really important. Can I get some insight into where the Supreme Court is heading as we move through the year 2023? Okay, I'm immediately seeing a chair with the word, like a sign on it that says vacant. So it looks like there's going to be at least one vacancy. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like somebody is going to get sworn in. I have to tell you, it looks um, the um, the appointment looks as if it's going to a female. I could get any more clarity than that. So let's all keep our fingers crossed for that. And that in and of itself is not going to right the situation, but it's a start. Things things that the court has been doing, like the whole abortion thing, they're showing me they're going to get flipped back. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it is. And this time, the Democrats are going to do what they need to do to safeguard it. Okay. So that looks promising just a little bit down the road. Okay, and just for my Canadian viewers, I just want to sort of check in on Trudeau and the Trudeau government or the Liberal government. He's got, I think it's about 2 years away from an election. The investigation or whatever it was into whether or not he used the Emergency Act appropriately when it came to the convoy, the Freedom Convoy that just literally brought, Ottawa to a halt. That investigation shows, in fact, that he did use it appropriately, and it did slap some blame on sort of law enforcement. and said that, had they done a better job, he probably wouldn't have had to use it. So it looks like there's a little bit of blame to go around there. Hopefully, hopefully they fix what needs to be fixed. Um, I'm kind of concerned about the conservatives. Are they gaining like enough ground that we should be, concerned about it? Those of us who um, are not big fans of kind of the attitudes of a lot of conservative policies. So it looks like they're picking up momentum, but I don't know. It sort of feels like even federally down the road in 2 years, if the conservatives snag that election, it is going to be with a minority government. So there's that. Um, Sorry, I've just got messages on my computer. Um, So there's that. And can I just do a quick peek with the Alberta? The Alberta election, provincial election is coming up. I think it's in May. And as of right now, Danielle Smith and Rachel Notley, who would be the United Conservative Party versus the New Democratic Party, so the NDPs who are far more liberal. Um, it looks like they're almost running neck and neck. So that's a little bit of a concern. And I guess we're going to continue to monitor that. Spirit, can you just give me a yes no? Is Danielle Smith going to win that election? Honest to God, they just showed me a coin flipping in the air. So I guess that one's not quite settled yet. Okay, so that's kind of where we are today. Um, Thank you so very much for being here. Thank you for all of your support and love. And I'm so grateful. I just truly am. I am booking mid to late March. So if you are looking for a personal reading, check out the Dropbox below and there's an email address. Just send me a quick email and I will send you the information you need to know. All right. Until next time, take care. Be well. We'll see you really soon. Bye bye.